The sworn enemy of creativity, to me, is perfectionism. Perfectionism is a well-documented, widely studied topic, but I found it particularly interesting looking through an artistic lens. Across the big 5 personality traits identified by psychologists, openness basically equates to creativity. And this can be difficult to reconcile with neuroticism, susceptibility to anxiety and a subsequent desire for security. People can be naturally at odds with themselves, right? They can be predisposed to have this kind of internal conflict from the get-go. If you're open and neurotic, right, so you enjoy exploring new ideas, but you also have a particular fear of the unknown, you're going to find the ongoing, open-ended artistic process both compelling and distressing at the same time. That's not to say that levels of openness and neuroticism are in any way linked. You know, we have this idea of the mentally unstable but widely creative person, but there's no real scientific evidence to suggest that those that are neurotic are necessarily wildly creative as well. Although not at first optimistic, the fact that maybe some of this perfectionism is naturally occurring, you know, it's innate to us as human beings and not entirely manufactured by social media companies designing apps for addiction, it's relieving in some way, right? Now, on to perfectionism and art. Artists have always found their place in society by remaining constantly inquisitive and contending with complex abstract ideas that the majority of people are too afraid to address publicly themselves, right? That is their value. To venture where the brave do not go in a certain way. We live in a world where there's an incessant need to explain, to compartmentalize and neutralize the potentiality of ideas by imposing a certain level of order upon it. Perhaps it's always been like that, just in varying degrees, but my point being, that's what makes the artist so important, you know, to loosen the chains. With my own creativity, there's been an underlying need to find a perfect solution, that the value of my work is intrinsically linked to the adequacy of the answer I compose to a complex question. One quote that made me think very differently about this, and the quote that is central to this whole video, is one of Anton Chekhov's. And it goes, "The role of the artist is to ask questions, not to answer them." That really made me think. And for me, then from Anton Chekhov's quote, the next step would be, right, so the role of the artist is to ask questions, not answer them. Therefore, could you say that the role of art itself is simply to ask questions and not answer them? Right now I feel as if the role of art isn't to answer questions. You know, it may do so inadvertently, but it's not its primary function. We're living in a society where measurable success is king, right? If you fly an arrow from point A to point B, the success of that will be dependent on where that arrow lands on the target of B. But to me, art is not that kind of linear A to B process. It's a circling. There is no destination. Maybe if you're more scientifically minded, you might think that circling is inferior to the alternative. But to me at least, if that circling is enlightening and it enriches your life, what makes it any less valuable? And so I think a lot of this sort of results-based thinking that we find ourselves trapped in when it comes to our creative work, it must then contradict the very nature of art itself. You're not looking for that causal, results-based type of thinking. You're looking for that circling. And then, once you've found it, to embed yourself in it. And then just enjoy the ride, man. Before I'd regard perfectionism and art collectively, I'd place some moral value upon perfectionism, right? It's a bad thing to be a perfectionist and a curator. But the more I'm thinking about it, the more I feel as though they're not even in the same ballpark. If you are going to fully engage and put your soul into your artistic work, then a precondition to that is to let go of your perfectionistic baggage beforehand. Yeah, so that's basically it. This was just my view on perfectionism in an artistic way. On a more general point, I think we're seeing more and more nowadays that comparison really is the theft of joy, whether it be with social media or even stuff like academic league tables. People are just becoming more and more perfectionistic because of their environment. This video was just about how those who are creatively inclined can learn about perfectionism, and not let it hold them back. It's an ongoing fight, and you're never really going to be 100% free from it. But I think just the more I become conscious of it, then the more likely it is that I'll do something about it. Also, I wanted to release some music, but I didn't want to release it all in its entirety, because that would just make an EP further down the line just a present I would have already given you, just repackaged and sent to you again, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to do more of these conversational types of videos, and to end, I'll be putting 1 minute song concepts at the end of these videos, just to make sure that I'm getting all this sort of creative energy out of me to combat perfectionism in a way, and just keep the creative juices flowing. You can enjoy those to your heart's content and not skip the video just to get to the song concepts. Alas, great. Yeah, we're feeling good. All right, see you in a bit.
You're safer here than any place else. Now just lock yourself in and keep quiet.
Time flies by when you're having fun, but I'm the only one flying way too close to the sun. Oh, know how we hear it. Everybody living up to disaster. I'm the only one who knows how to run faster. Know how we hear it. The sound of my love, my love, swinging back and forth. The sound of my heartbeat synchronized with yours. The sound of my heart, it beats along with yours. A sound that